Hi, I'm Thomas Björge, and this is an exploration of visual submodalities. Now, learning visual submodalities, it's like getting access to the programming language of your mind. Visual submodalities are all the things you can do with the images in your mind. So, for example, make an image of something pleasant, make it larger, bring it closer, make sure it's 3D. Now, the VR technology allows you to learn NLP submodalities better than any other technology because you can see real images changing in exactly the ways you can change the images of your mind. Now, by the end of this episode, you will know how to change a pleasant memory or fantasy so that it becomes much more pleasant. You'll be able to take an image in your mind that bothers you and make it so it doesn't bother you so much. And also remember that some of the distinctions we are working with here may seem simple, but they are required for the other and more advanced techniques for changing your mind that you will learn in later episodes. Let's start with a beach. Look, an image of a beach. Now, notice how much impact this image has on you. Can you see it from where you are? Okay, so let's create some changes. Notice what happens with your experience when we make the image larger, when we add color, and when we add movement. It adds up, doesn't it? It's a different experience. So this is something you can do with any pleasant memory to make it more pleasant. Just make sure you see a pleasantly large image in color and that it's a movie rather than a still picture. And if you have something you want to feel less intensely about, just shrink it. Hit the pause button and make it black and white. You know, ask yourself, what would an old black and white photo of the event look like? One of the most important submodalities is location, where an image is located. So let's check what happens when we change location by changing distance. How does it feel if we bring the image real close to you? Okay, so that may be a little bit overwhelming. So let's pull it back. Or if we move the image really far away. Oh no, we like the beach. Please bring it back. Okay, let's bring it back here. Good. So distance is something you can play with. For pleasant images, you can adjust the distance to where it's the most pleasant. And for some memories and events, well, you just may want to distance yourself from those. And also remember, you can also see and learn different things depending on the distance you choose for an image. But for most people, when an image goes behind them, it's out of sight, out of mind. And this is, of course, something you can do with some memories. Just leave the images behind you. You can always move them to the front if you need to check them. And when the image is right in front, big, in color, moving, then it tends to be something you pay attention to. So when something is important to you, but maybe it doesn't feel quite as important as it should feel, make sure the mind image of it is big, colorful, and keep it right in front of your eyes. Okay, so let's see this image now, straight in front of me. Hey, I can't see you. Well, that's all right. So let's make the image transparent. Now, that kind of reduces its impact, doesn't it? It's no longer an experience to lose oneself in. So, frames. So, some people have frames around the images in their mind. Black frames, white frames, green frames, red frames. And sometimes there isn't even a frame, the edges are just sort of fading out into the surrounding area. Now, your brain can learn in many ways. You can use different frames to color code different kinds of images. So, for a lot of people, green and red will be Christmassy images. It just makes them easier to keep track of for your mind. So, let's explore size a little bit more. What happens when the screen just starts getting as large as it can become? When it becomes like the biggest movie screen you've ever seen. It's nice. And you may want to take some pleasant experiences and blow them out of proportion like this. It does have a specific impact now. But still, if you look to the sides, you are still not in it. So let's make the image panoramic. Let's make the image surround you. Nice. You're totally in the experience. I'm not quite dressed for this occasion, but we'll just continue. So anyways, here's the point. It's fairly obvious. When you think of an image as panoramic, rather than just in front of you, the experience becomes stronger. You're inside the event. So any pleasant experience where you want to re-experience the pleasant feelings of that event, check what happens when you make the image panoramic. Let's explore a couple of other submodalities. Let's start with brightness. Just notice what happens when the brightness increases slightly. Nice. And oh my, now it's like more like a total whiteout. Where did all the content in the image go? So let's bring it back. When we turn the brightness down, and hey, what happened with the day? It's like night, but the sun is still up. So let's bring the brightness back to normal. So you can adjust brightness. If you want to feel something more intense, you simply find the optimal level of brightness for that intensity. If you want to diminish the impact of an image, and you don't need to see the content, well, then you can turn it all the way down to darkness or all the way up to whiteout. Color saturation. Okay, so let's check the color saturation. Now, just notice, how does it feel when the colors slowly drain from the scene? Black and white. Well, okay, so this is not a 50s television show. So turn the colors back on and start to increase the saturation. Wow, look at the blue of that sky. Okay, that's a little bit overwhelming, so let's bring it back to normal. So color saturation is one of those really interesting submodalities. If you want to decrease the impact of an image, all you need to do is to let the colors drain from the image. But if you want to increase the impact, turn the saturation up to the level you really like. This is where some people go, it's even better than the real thing. Also check what happens to your experience when you use different color filters. So just notice what happens now. We use a blue filter. I'm feeling kind of blue here. Okay, we use a green filter. We use a yellow filter. a red filter. Some people like, to rose tint my world. But let's get it all back to normal. These different colors filters, this is one you have to experiment with in order to know what happens now. Almost everybody report that blue gives them a feeling of cold and red gives them a feeling of warmth. But which colors work for you in the combination with what content, that is something you're just going to have to experiment with to find out. Observe what contrast does. When we turn the contrast gradually down, 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 all the distinctions disappear. And when we turn the contrast up, the brights become extra bright and the darks become extra dark, and up, it becomes a little bit exaggerated. So let's bring it back to normal. So you have now seen images move around and change in different ways, in exactly the ways in which you can change the images in your mind. So I will encourage you to experiment and play with this in an ecological fashion, making sure that the changes work for you as a whole person, and enjoy making more pleasant images even more pleasant, and enjoy your changes and enjoy your learnings. And in future episodes, you will learn other and more advanced techniques where you will really learn how to learn and change. You will learn quitting bad habits, becoming more motivated, becoming more charismatic, understanding other points of view better. You see, changing your mind becomes very easy once you know NLP and submodalities. So until next time, enjoy and thrive.